Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you your weekly Pokemon market update. This is week two of digging into this data and seeing what we can find as far as trends. If you like the content, hit the share button, share it with someone else you know that might like Pokemon market information, sealed product, etc. Because that is the focus here, and it's been pretty popular with Flesh and Blood, so it might be popular with Pokemon. There's definitely some economic opportunities there. Less risky, more stable long-term trading card game, collectible card game, and all the rest. Anyways, hope you enjoy the content. And again, if you do, hit the like, leave a comment, share it with someone you know. Let's jump in. It's a pretty quiet week, I'll be honest. So this will probably be relatively short. Really, not much has changed since last week. It was just basically flat across the board. You'll see everything is under 5% until we get to about here. Then we put a little bold on it because it's almost 5% for Lost Origin Booster Box. It jumped to 114.90. That's cool because that's the last set, so that's pretty neat that it jumped up. The cases, they moved up as well, but not at the same rate. I don't think we get an ARB opportunity there. We'll check on the charts. Yeah, that's about it. The other thing of note is Vivid Voltage returning back to where it was before. We talked about this last week. It's been down. It's been cool for a couple of weeks. I think we said something like we'll see if it goes back and reverts to the mean. It looks like it has reverted. It is above its previous tracked price. So it was in these 120 area, hit 130, then crashed, right, and sat low, and then jumped to 135. So this feels like a little bit of upward pressure in the longer term. 22% is nothing to sneeze at, so that's a good jump. If you're holding Vivid Voltage and you're looking for relatively quick turnaround on profitability, this may be a good, exit ramp for you at 135. You can't really complain about the 22% gain since the 110s. And I'm guessing if you've been holding on to it, you probably got it back in the 80 to 90, well, probably 90 to 100 range, because 80 is only for sets that don't really perform well. 135, pretty good exit ramp. Get 20 to 30% back on your early investment. There's nothing wrong with that in such a short period of time. Vivid Voltage wasn't all that long ago. But, obviously a lot of people want larger returns and they hold for a longer period. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I definitely have Vivid Voltage. I did not get in at the 90 to 100 box range because by the time I started grabbing Pokemon, it was well past the point. I think I do want to say I got in like a 110, 120 range, though. I don't know if I did this because you got to remember each of these data points is a week, and there's ups and downs in between. So what I did while I was collecting is during this entire period, and I think I even mentioned this in one of the videos I put out earlier on this, I was just watching it like daily, everything, all of them, each of them. So that's part of why I got to put the script together so that I could do this as quickly as possible and just take an eye. Keep an eye on what was happening in the market individually, so you get a sense of how it moves and what happens. And so for each of these, not the cases so much, although I did end up buying a few cases, the boxes in particular, whenever I saw some sort of discount, some sort of, like a Black Friday type sale or whatever, I would jump in and grab it. So I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look back at my purchase history to find out when I got this, but it was probably in the 110 to 120 range, probably closer to 120 because it looks like that's where it was most stable at that period. So I am not getting out at this point because clearly it's barely gone up for me. But people that have been collecting Pokemon for a long time, 135 is not a bad exit point if you're looking for fast turnaround returns. I feel like a lot of the people that collect these sealed boxes hold on to them for long periods, and they're looking for crazy prices, 280s and above, right? Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know. One other thing. Oh, shoot. I just realized we're doing the heat map wrong. Dang it. Here's the real heat map. That's what we really wanted to show you. It's okay. It's all the same thing. It's just sorted by box and case. It's a little more organized. That was just my raw data. It's okay. It's all the same stuff. One other thing to note, and I did talk about this in our podcast. I pulled this off of the Pokemon official news site. be aware, experiencing difficulty getting products to everyone because of high demand and shipping constraints. So, does that mean these prices are artificially elevated, especially these ones, right? I would say it is possible. And Pokemon always reserves the right to reprint. Pokemon does reprint things frequently. I would say, we were talking with Tommy yesterday of the podcast. He says, the last 2-3 sets they may do another run of just because they do that. But anything older than that, he doesn't think they will. And come the new set, which is coming out soon, I don't recall the date, I think he said it, is coming out soon. That's the new era. They're going to up MSRP. And so going back to the old pricing would be unlikely. Now, reality is he doesn't know, we don't know. And he even said, he's like, there's a couple different caveats to that. And so, listen to the podcast if you want to hear that part. But essentially, there's no guarantee that that's true. There's no guarantee they don't reprint these. There's no guarantee on any of this, right? None of this is financial advice. But point being, they put out press. It says 32 minutes ago, but this was last week, literally a week ago. So a week ago, they put out press saying, things are struggling as far as supply chain. So we're apologizing and we want to, fix this. So there'll be, most likely as this unwinds and they get it figured out, we'll see prices drop on the more recent sets. Like Tommy says, I doubt they'll reprint older sets, so I don't think that's going to be part of that. But let's keep an eye on the prices. If we see a day where we have a bunch of blue, I'm guessing what happened is this caught up, stores got it, emptying their shelves, etc., etc. So that's the guess there. Let's jump into the charts. All right, so Sword and Shield, not much interesting here because we don't have a case to go off of, but it is at this low, steady point at 220. It has been staying steady there for about a month now. We'll keep an eye on that. Note we are now at 2 months and a week. This will continue to expand. I think I'll do 3 months of data is what I like to do. Get a quarter, chart for the last rolling quarter. Once I get there, it will have enough data points that I will probably just keep cycling forward. I will not continue adding points. But until that point, we will add a new point on the chart every week. Let's go on to Rebel Clash. This was last week's speculation or point of interest was that, is this a steal? And the answer is not quite. You don't get an arbitrage opportunity. It is down. The case value is down, but you don't get an arb opportunity. But it's pretty cheap, and it did drop pretty dramatically last week. Let's just go back real quick. Rebel Clash cases, where are they? Right here, yeah. So it's at $13.49 from $1,500. That's pretty good, right? Let's say $150 off. So that's a good discount from a dollar by dollar standpoint, but is it from a percentage standpoint? It wasn't bad, right? So it is worth keeping an eye on. It is staying there. It is stable here. Does it last, or does it pull one of these where it's cold, neutral, and then spikes back up to where it was before? We'll find out. It looks like this is far less volatile than this, right? Just looking at the colors and the heat map. So what I'd say is let's watch this. Let's see what happens. This will be a curious kind of use case or case study in what occurs with larger, older value stuff that has a sudden, pretty significant drop. If it jumps back up, we can expect things like that in the future where it might take a few weeks, but then the price jumps back up. I don't know. I don't have enough data, and I like to use data to make my, thoughtful predictions or analysis, right? Without data, I don't know. So I'm going to hold off and observe. Observation is the key right now and will be for a while. Moving on to Darkness. Essentially, this one has an ARB opportunity, but it's only $5, so it's probably not worth it unless you can get, well, you can't because, well, I don't think you can get this old from distribution. If you can get it at distribution price, obviously your ARB opportunity is much higher, but the point being is that the case is cheaper on a per box basis than the retail price of the boxes. So $5 ARB opportunity, not bad. Moving on to Vivid Voltage, we we're just talking about this. Oh, wow, that little thing's in the way. Okay, there we go. These little dots are crazy. Okay, there. Now it's cleaner. All right, so 129 and 135, so another $5 ARB opportunity. This just entered into ARB after a long period of a premium, right? So we have about 2 months of a premium, and then they crossed here, creating an ARB opportunity. And this is primarily because of the spike in booster box prices from this 110 to 135. That is significant. It will be worth watching. Do we come down? So here's what. So unfortunately, these charts are too short at this point to get good pattern data. But here's the thing I want to keep an eye on. Note it's 132 here. It broke the previous all-time high. So there's a new pressure here. Now, usually what happens in things that have a diminishing supply over time is you'll see volatility, volatility, volatility. And if you watch my Fab stuff, you see me talk about this a lot. And then once the volatility kind of reaches an endpoint, it spikes up to a new level, and then you kind of see it come down. And what happens is when it comes down, it won't go below that previous high. So we'll call the 130s range the previous high. If this shoots up and then bounces off that previous high, that means we're kind of reaching a new price plateau. And we'll see what happens. I mean, there's no guarantee that's going to happen. I honestly think it will come back down, and we'll see a little volatility for here for a few months before reaching that point. But that is something to keep an eye on. And of course, with this supply chain thing, that could just be this could just be volatility around supply chain and demand, as opposed to an actual variation in the price value of the product. Now, that said, I don't think supply chain is holding back set 4, right? I don't think that's the story on this one. So let's keep an eye on the charts, and we'll watch it over time and see what happens. Moving on to battle styles. This one is everyone's favorite set to hate. I got in on this pretty low, so I'm pretty happy about this. We're at 95. There's no ARB opportunity. I think it's just going to stay around here. Clearly, people bought it by the case, and the boxes are selling at the case level as well, like the case divided by 4, or 6 rather. So what you're seeing is a general trend of cases being cracked, boxes sold is what that looks like when they're that aligned to me. Chilling Reign. Ooh, that was a funky animation. Chilling Reign is basically the same as last week. No change. A couple of pennies. ARB opportunities, so not worth it. Nothing very interesting there. Moving on to Evolving Skies. Major ARB opportunity, which is crazy. So if you buy an Evolving Skies box, it's $250 a box. The price, a case. The box prices continue to climb. It's at $280 this week. So you got almost it's a $25 ARB opportunity. That makes it worth it in my mind. None of this is financial advice, but if you buy a case of Evolving Skies and then you crack it open and sell the individual boxes for $280, you're making significant change there, right? That's $25 per box, $150 per case. That's not bad. And if you have real capital and you can buy like 10 cases, and move these boxes. Now, granted, if you move that many boxes, this price will come down because eventually people won't be able to, the market can't handle the volume. But this one is pretty hot. Evolving Skies has been moving pretty significantly in volume. So my guess is, actually I should think about, I don't know how to do that. The data pool would be so much harder. I need an API. I really do. Because if I could get the volume data, we could make even better conclusions from this stuff. But anyways, so if you know how to get a API for TCG Player, currently they're closed down on their official site, but if you know one, let me know. So at this point, essentially what's happened is, assuming the volume continues, then this will continue up. I don't know if that's the case. I think we do see a reversion to the mean like we do here. I'm not sure if it will go all the way back to the case price, but point being, pretty good buy on the case. Maybe this is what will be the headline this time. Fusion Strike. Yes, I come up with the headlines after I read the data. I let the data drive everything. All right, got a $5 ARB opportunity here. Nothing too special. Fusion Strike's been pretty solid. 103 a box, and then you can get the case value below that down at 98, which isn't bad actually. Brilliant Stars. Yeah, you still have the premium intact for 186 a box at the case level, and the individual boxes are 170s. That's not bad either for a set that is that recent. Wow, I can speak occasionally. Astral Radiance, 97 box on ARB opportunity of $7, so not really worth it, but interesting that it's maintained this steady ARB opportunity the whole time, meaning the cases don't have that much demand, but the boxes have a fair amount of demand, right? Like a steady demand. Same thing here with Lost Origin. So I'm curious about this. We'll see this. This is why I did this, because I really want to see how these markets play. So just real quick, you go back to let's go back here. See how arb opportunity, arb opportunity, arb opportunity, and then we get this new plateau. Let's go back a few more. Let's go to early. This one's really flat, so that's not a good fit for this. Then the premium's intact here, right? So when does that switch happen where there's a premium and there's not a premium? That's what I want to know. So we're seeing this like steady under, which I think is what happens when there's plenty of supply in the market, which makes sense. There's no premium on the cases, but eventually there's no more cases in the market, right? They start to dwindle. And so this part will go above that one. The boxes, there's still plenty of, right? Because people have had cases opened and in the back of their storerooms or whatever for so long, and they continue to open them, and there's lots of shelf boxes. This is a different story. This is what happens, or this is what's interesting. I want to see when this transition happens. How long? How many months does it take to go between being a plentiful supply product to it's pretty much retail supply product is what I kind of interpret that as. So anyways, Lost Origin is not there. There is an ARB opportunity, about 13 bucks, not bad. At scale, that could be decent. I don't know if I would do it. So we're talking, what, 60, 70, what, 74, 77, something like that. 77 a case. Not great, but $77 a case plus shipping and all the other stuff, it probably doesn't work out. But it's interesting to keep an eye on this, and I am curious, especially since this is a recent set. And then Silver Tempest, massive difference here. I'm still looking to buy this case. I think the price will continue to decline for a while, especially once that supply chain issue gets worked out. So I will look for that moment to buy it. I do not have a favorite pattern to purchase on yet. I am still learning these patterns and when supplies cross over with demand and that sort of thing. That's kind of what I'm analyzing as we go. And as I figure things out or see patterns emerge amongst the data for multiple products, then I'll start to say, okay, this feels like a normal release, and this feels like an off release, and this feels like an opportunity, and this feels like it's not an opportunity, you know. New to this, still figuring it out, but really it's good to track the data. It's good to keep a record of your previous thoughts so that you can go back and review, you know, kind of what you figured out and if it holds up in different circumstances. I personally like it. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you're enjoying some Pokemon out there. Cracking packs, playing games if that's what you like to do, collecting your favorite cards in Pokemon, do it. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite Pokemon? Do you have one that you collect? I would like to hear it because I want to know more about the game and the people that are involved in collecting this sort of product that are interested in this content. So let me know in the comments. Really would be helpful to me. Until next time, have a good one.